Hi there, I'm Damaris. I'm currently a fifth-year architecture major at Howard University, and today I will be reviewing a new look at humanism in architecture, landscape, and urban design by Bob Hart. Just a little background before I get started. I was given this book to review, but I was not paid or in any way. I actually just really enjoyed the book and was really excited about the opportunity to review it. I decided to do a video review because being in architecture school and being in school and just in the field, it's definitely a field where the more experience you have, the better you are at it. But I do feel like the younger that you get started talking about it and into the dialogue and thinking critically, I think the better, the better. It can't hurt. It can only help. And so I'm sort of trying to open up the dialogue to younger people and I guess a new crowd. So the title of the book is pretty self-explanatory. It talks about the way architects, landscape designers, urban designers, et cetera, basically anybody who designs, the built environment should think about the human experience and the way it influences their designs. Hart touches on a lot of things that I definitely learned while I'm in school, that we all learn while we're in architecture school. I would definitely not say that this book is just for architects or people in the profession. It's more of like a general overview of human nature and how it deals and how it's related to architecture. So if you're just interested in the topic, you can definitely pick it up and understand what's going on. And just the topic in general itself, human nature, it's super important to the field of architecture because you design architecture for humans. And I think like him making this book and putting emphasis on the importance of learning about human nature, the more that we talk about it, the more that becomes a part of the design process, the better buildings will be. So now I'm just going to go into a little bit of what the book is about without giving away any spoilers, and then I'm going to go deeper into my personal feelings about the book. So as I was saying, the book is definitely a general overview of the topic of humanism in architecture, but he breaks it down into the different aspects of the human experience as it relates to architecture. So there's a part of the book that's about the mind that encounters architecture. There's a part of the book about the body that encounters architecture. There's a part of the book about just human nature in general and how it relates to architecture. And you can tell he did a very thorough job of his research since he's been doing it for a long part of his career. I feel like at this point he really knows what human nature is, and so he'll mention things in the book that which I thought was really cool. He'll mention things in the book that I do that I didn't even realize were part of human nature, things that you do that you probably don't even think about. So I think that's cool because literally everybody can relate to it. So the size of the book might be a little bit intimidating. It does look like a textbook. It's hardcover. It's like 300 pages, but it's very easily digestible, and it definitely shouldn't intimidate anyone or steer anyone away from the book. You don't have to read the whole thing in one sitting. There are different, like as I was saying, there's different parts of the book, so you could just pick it up and read a page, and you'll learn something, and you'll get something from the book. There are also throughout the entire book, are on the sides of the margins are little excerpts of something that came from the passage that's right next to it. These excerpts, you could just open the book and read the excerpts, and you learn things. Or sometimes when I find myself getting sort of sidetracked or distracted, I could read the excerpts and it would put me right back in the place I need to be in my head. There's so many ways you could use the excerpts, and I definitely think they're helpful. They're like my favorite part of the book, actually. Overall, the book is very approachable. So as I was saying, it touches on a lot of things that we learn while we're in architecture school. So I feel like it could have easily become very repetitive and become like a giant architecture history book. But I think the way that he formatted the book, and he used sketches instead of photographs, and he broke things down, and he made us think about things that I was already familiar with in a new way. Or if you're just coming to this topic for the first time, you'll be introduced to them in a way that's easily understood, and is also at the same time introducing you to the things that you probably should know anyway about architecture. The bibliography for this book was definitely very extensive, which I think was brilliant. Throughout the readings, he'll say, as stated by Louis Kahn, and he'll say the book, he'll say the artist, and he'll say the book, and then if you want to go, you can go through the back and look through, and the back will have the bibliography broken up by the topic. He references architecture from every time period because humans have been around as long as architecture has been around. And so there's things that you can take from every type of architecture, every time period, every country. There's things that they did right in architecture. So he definitely does a very good job of doing a broad overview of the world of architecture and how it relates to the human experience and how important the human experience is, and where some places did better and where some places did not so good, and how we should think about it. So as I've said, I highly would recommend the book to everybody. It definitely errs on the more generic side, and I do think that there is a few places that he could use a few more specific examples of the abstract thoughts that he was sort of speaking about. But overall, I think his intention was to not go too deep into any one topic. He calls the book A New Look because he doesn't really mean to answer any questions or give any specific details or guides of how you should think about architecture. It's more just the way of thinking and the way that people should open up their minds in the future when they're designing or if they're just experiencing. I think if you're doing research in the subject, this is the perfect way to start. As I said, he lists so many books in the bibliography that you can have the next 3 or 4 steps of your research process in starting with this book, and you'll have the frame of mind to begin your project. So I think that covers everything. I hope this was helpful to you in some way. If you're interested in the topic, I wish you good luck on your studies. And thank you so much again for watching.